G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to DCS World with Mags, and welcome back to the Over the Hump campaign. Once again, we're in the Mk.II and we are currently in the process of scrambling from the runway. After 3 successful missions against Turkish forces across the hump, they've decided to strike back. 3 4-ship flights of F4 Phantom Es have been detected clearing the hump and heading towards the runway. Recon reports that the first 2 flights are equipped for air-to-air combat, while the 3rd flight, which is trailing behind, is equipped for air-to-ground combat and is heading towards the base to destroy it. So this mission consists of 2 parts. The first part is the Scramble. There are 2 flights of 2 MiG-29s leaving the runway. We're playing the part of the first flight. Our job is to exit the runway as fast as possible, circle around the back of the fighter squadrons and intercept the 3rd flight of Phantoms and eliminate them before they can reach our runway and destroy it. The 2nd flight of MiG-29s is going to attempt to intercept the fighter squadrons and delay them as long as possible, destroying as many as they can and holding them off from reaching the runway. Now, once we've eliminated the attacker squadron at the rear, the 3rd flight of Phantoms, our job is to move back towards the runway and assist the 1st squadron of MiG-29s with clearing out whatever remaining Phantoms may still be there. And while the Phantom squadrons are not that difficult to detect, a berry of A50 is available for guidance if needed. Now at this point I'm just searching on radar to see if I can get a long-range lock on any of the Phantoms in the rear of the formation, and we've managed to pick one of them up. Now the MiG-29 isn't loaded with any particularly long-range missiles, so I'm still going to have to close a long distance in before I can actually begin engaging these guys. Oh, and I know that everybody seems to ask the question every single time I post one of these videos, what's all the beeps and whistles and tones inside of the cockpit? For the most part, what you're hearing is the RWR, or the Radar Warning Receiver. It's telling me that my aircraft is being detected, it's telling me which direction I have contacts on. You can see it in the bottom right-hand corner. And now it's telling me I've been detected and locked. So at the moment, we've both locked one another and we're staring down one another's guns. The problem is neither one of us actually have missiles with a long enough range to be able to shoot one another from here. A fact that I'm just about to realise right as I make an incredibly big mistake. So, the missile I just fired was a Soviet R-27 semi-active radar-guided missile. Now this is a pretty interesting missile. It comes in a whole bunch of flavours, some that have longer range than others. Now, I didn't actually check what missile type that I had loaded before I started flying this mission. I assumed I would have had one of the longer range variants for this kind, but as it turns out what I had was R-27Rs. These only have an effective kill range of about 45 kilometers, and I am well outside of that, so both the 1st and 2nd missiles I just fired at this Phantom formation don't have enough range to actually be able to get to the targets. Now thankfully I do realise this, but unfortunately it wasn't until I released the 2nd missile, and I felt like a bit of a dope for that. So I dropped the aircraft to the deck, and what I'm going to do is come in as low to the ground as I possibly can and try and spike up underneath the formation, engaging them in close range. Now the RWR is telling me right now that I am low enough that getting locks between me and the Phantoms is actually difficult, which is about where I want to be. While these things are equipped for air-ground attack, they are likely to be carrying air-to-air missiles as well. No point in giving them a free shot if I don't have to, because at this point I should be inside their missile range. But if I'm inside their missile range, they should now be well inside mine. First one is away. And there's the splash. So looking directly at the Phantoms, I just took out the second Phantom in the flight. I'm banking around to catch the first. And at this point my wingman should be breaking off to engage the third and fourth aircraft in the flight. So tracking the lead ship through the flight, he's going vertical. Bringing the nose up to catch him. There he is. And next one is away. Splash 2. However, in the process of doing that, I actually came dangerously close to stalling the MiG then, so putting it back at the ground and punching the throttles through to afterburn, picking up as much speed as I can so I can start looking for the remaining 2 aircraft. Now, I was pretty sure my wingman was already engaging, but I thought I would just tell him to do so anyway, and I picked up a missile lock in the process. So, the third missile is away, but I was a little bit slow on the draw this time. Before I fired my missile, my wingman had already fired his. He took the kill. My missile, on the other hand, did still make contact, but it hit the wreck. And just to my 1 o'clock, I see the flares from the remaining aircraft, but by the time I bring the nose around and go for a lock, it had already been taken out. Now at this point the RWR was still giving me warnings, and I was a little worried that one of the fighter squadrons may have turned around and come back, because I had really no idea exactly where they would come from. And at this point I've only got one on the rails, so I pointed the aircraft to the ground, opened up the throttles and dove down to the deck in order to break contact and started making my way back towards the runway. So, after breaking contact with whatever was locking me up, I spent about 10 minutes dicking around in the mountains in order to get some distance before heading back to the runway to see exactly what had happened over here. The runway itself was mostly intact, although it does look like some of the air-to-air equipped Phantom 2s had gone on strafing runs and taken out some of the air defense positions around the runway itself. However, on the way into the runway, I spotted something out of the corner of my eye. A small dot moving close to the horizon just below the mountain ridgeline, but just above the ground. And what we've got here is a single Phantom from the air-to-air squadron that's still hanging around doing strafing passes on the runway. So, slip in behind it. I've got one left on the rail. Splash 3. Now at this point, all I've got left is the shells in my cannon. I've got no missiles left on the rails, and I suspect the locks that I was getting when I had to go evasive in the mountains were likely the air-to-air squadrons moving back towards their runway, and not so much looking to intercept us, but picking us up and starting trying to get locks on us because we just happened to be in the way. Grabbing a quick report from the AWACS as I'm circling the runway, no targets detected in this area at all, so at this point it's time to bring the MiG-29 down for a landing. Anyways, ladies and gents, that was pretty much the end of the combat in this mission. At this point, I just bring the plane down to land. As always, I'm going to let the landing run through to the end, but you've probably had enough of me jabbering down a microphone. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to leave a comment in the comment sections down below. And I'd like to make a shout out to all of my Patreons that help support me here on the channel. And my Patreon for this video is Ace Arvo. Thank you very much, Ace. And until next time, remember to click that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.
Нальщик, 717. Разрешите посадку.
717. Нальщик.